Welcome back to our channel. In this video, we reveal some of the most valuable coins in the world, coins that collectors and investors are willing to pay thousands or even millions for. What if I told you that right now, at this very moment, you have likely held $1 million in your sweaty palm and then spent it on a pack of gum? Stay with me. Every single day, thousands of Americans empty their pockets, toss loose change into jars, or swipe a handful of quarters for a parking meter. And in doing so, they are unknowingly committing financial suicide. Not metaphorically, almost literally, because hidden somewhere out there, in a dusty coffee can in your grandparents' attic, inside a forgotten nightstand drawer, or even face down in that disgusting tray at the drive-thru, is a single cent. A 1-cent coin, the Lincoln penny, but not just any penny. This is the 1960 D Mint Mark Lincoln cent. And depending on one microscopic detail, it is either worth exactly 1 cent or up to $1.3 million. Pause this video right now. Go look at the change in your car's cup holder. I'll wait. You didn't, did you? That's the fear of missing out eating at your gut. Because here is the brutal truth. There is a silent war happening every time you break a dollar bill. On one side, you have the spender, the person who sees coins as friction, as noise, as junk. On the other side is the collector, the quiet, patient predator who knows that the U.S. Mint's greatest mistakes are worth more than gold. Today, we are going to turn you from a spender into a collector. We are going to dissect the ghost story of American numismatics. A coin so rare, so shrouded in confusion, that most professional dealers have never even seen one. And by the end of this video, you will either be diving for your change jar or kicking yourself for the rest of your life. Seriously, stop scrolling. Look down at your left pocket. Right now, that loose change? There is a statistical probability, small but real, that you are sitting on a down payment for a beach house. Let's find out why. To understand insanity, you have to understand the mint. The year is 1960. America is on the cusp of the counterculture revolution. The Lincoln cent, designed by Victor David Brenner, has been in circulation for over 50 years. But the U.S. Mint in Denver, the D Mint, had a problem. A dirty, expensive, embarrassing problem. You see, in 1960, the Mint was still using old hubs and dies to strike coins. A die is like a stamp. When that stamp gets worn out, they carve a new one. But in 1960, the Denver Mint accidentally used two completely different designs for the same penny. We now call them the large date and the small date. Now, for 99.999% of coins, this is a novelty. A large date 1960 D is worth maybe $1. But the small date? That's where the devil dances. Let me get technical for 90 seconds. Do not look away. The small date 1960 D cent has a specific 9 that is shaped like a balloon. The 6 is curled tightly. But that's not the killer. The killer is the mint mark. On a normal 1960 D, the D is clear, bold, and well-defined. But on the ultra-rare error variety, the D is filled in. It looks like a blob. It looks like a ghost. Collectors call it the D over D, or the D repunched mint mark. But there is an even rarer ghost. The 1960 D small date with a D that sits high and tilted. That specific tilt indicates that the mint employee literally hammered the mint mark into the die by hand, out of alignment. Why does this matter? Because the U.S. Mint has a strict protocol. If a die is defective, it is supposed to be destroyed. But somebody in Denver in 1960, likely tired, likely hungover, or likely just indifferent, looked at this misaligned, repunched, bloated D and said, "Ship it." They struck thousands of these before anyone noticed. And then they tried to erase history. The Mint recalled the dies. They melted the defective ones. They issued a quiet memo to pull any suspicious 1960 D small dates from circulation. For 60 years, the official narrative was that these coins do not exist. But they do. Here is where your blood pressure should rise. Because of that recall, because of the melt order, the survival rate for a true 1960 D small date with the strong D over D error is estimated at less than 200 examples in existence. 200. Compare that to the 1909 South VDB Center, which has nearly 1,000 known examples, and sells for six figures. Now compare it to a Bitcoin. There are 19 million Bitcoins, and you can't hold a Bitcoin in your hand. 200 of these pennies. And every single week, the population report from PCGS and NGC shows that 2 or 3 more of them are being discovered. In bankrolls, in estate sales, in the literal trash. So let me get this straight. You spend $40 on a scratch-off lottery ticket that has a 1 in 3 million chance of winning $10,000. But you have a jar of pennies in your closet that has a 1 in 6,000 chance of holding $1 million coin, and you haven't checked it yet? That's not being unlucky. That's being willfully blind. Let's travel back to 1960 for a moment. A loaf of bread cost 20 cents. A gallon of gas cost 31 cents. The minimum wage was $1 per hour. That means the average worker had to grind for an entire week to make $50. Now imagine that same worker in 1960 gets a penny back in change from a hot dog vendor. He looks at the D on the front. It looks funny, blobby. He tosses it into a ceramic jar on the refrigerator. 50 years later, his grandson inherits the jar. The grandson needs cash for a wedding. He dumps the jar on a table. A dealer sees the blob. That grandson does not work another day in his life. This isn't a fairy tale. This happened in 2019. A family in Massachusetts found a 1960 D small date with the high, tilted D in a coffee can. It graded MS63 red. At auction, bidding started at $50,000. It ended at $420,000. But we said the market value is up to $1.3 million. Why the difference? Because that coin in Massachusetts was red. Mint state red. But there is a rumor, a legend, a whisper among the top 50 collectors in the world. Somewhere, in a private collection in Switzerland, there is a 1960 D small date that is not just red, but deep cameo. A cent that was struck with polished dies meant for proof coins, but on a planchet meant for circulation. That coin, if it ever surfaces, will break every record. Numismatic experts at heritage auctions have unofficially valued that hypothetical coin at $1.3 million or more. Why? Because it is the only known link between a mass production error and a proof quality finish. It is the Loch Ness monster of Lincoln cents. So what is the market doing right now? This is where urgency enters the room. Over the last 18 months, the coin market has exploded. Why? Because high net worth individuals are terrified of stocks. They are terrified of bonds. They are terrified of inflation. But a coin? Coin you can hold. A coin with a known population of 200? That is a hard asset that cannot be hacked, cannot be diluted, and cannot be printed by the Federal Reserve. In June of 2023, a raw, ungraded 1960 D small date with a repunched mint mark sold on eBay for $42,000. The seller thought it was damaged. The buyer knew it was a ghost. In November of 2024, a certified MS64 example sold privately for $290,000. The trend is vertical. Every time a new collector enters this niche, the price ladder climbs. And here is the kicker. Most dealers still don't know how to identify the true error. They confuse it with die deterioration. They call it machine doubling. They send you away with a shrug. That is your advantage. You now know to look for 3 things. The 9 and 6 must be small, tight, and close to the rim. The D must be filled, tilted, or showing a shadow of a second D beneath it. The strike must be sharp. If the letters Liberty look mushy, it's not the error. It's just a bad strike. You are now part of an elite group. Less than 1% of coin collectors know how to hunt this specific ghost. And because of the melt order in 1960, the majority of these coins are not in albums. They are not in safe deposit boxes. They are in circulation. They are in the wild. Why? Because the mint destroyed the dies before they could produce a full run. The few coins that survived did so because they were pulled from a teller's tray on day 1, before the recall memo went out. That teller spent them. They went into soda machines. They went into newsstands. They are out there, walking around, ignored, unloved. Here is your assignment. Do not wait until next weekend. Do not wait until you have time. Tonight, open that change jar. Separate every single 1960 cent, use a magnifying glass, hell, use your phone camera zoomed in. Compare the date to photos online. If you find a large date, congratulations. You have a 2-cent coin. Put it back. But if you see the balloon-shaped 9 and a D that looks like it was punched in the dark, stop touching it. Do not clean it. Do not rub it. Put it in a cardboard flip. Call PCGS or NGC for a submission form. Pay for the expedited grading. And when that email comes back saying 1960 D1C small date, D over D, MS65 RD, you call a heritage auction representative. You do not sell it locally. You take a week off work. You watch the bidding war. Because that is not a penny. That is a retirement. Before you click off this video and forget everything you just heard, I want you to physically look at the floor of your car. Right now. Is there a penny face down? Go pick it up. Look at the date. Is it 1960? Look at the mint mark. Is it a D? Now look closely. Is that mint mark clean? Or does it look like a ghost? You just learned how to hunt a $1.3 million cent. But the 1960 D is only the beginning. There is another penny minted in Philadelphia with no mint mark at all. That is worth even more. Not because of an error, but because of a war. A secret World War II experiment that turned copper into silver, and then into legend. Next week, I reveal the truth behind the 1943 copper penny, the coin the Nazis tried to copy, the FBI tried to bury, and 3 brothers in Texas accidentally melted into a fishing sinker. If you want to know how to spot that $4 million mistake before you spend it, hit that subscribe button right now. Turn on notifications, because your pocket change is not trash. It is a treasure map, and you just learned how to read it. You are holding a penny in your hand right now. Go ahead. Look at it. Look at the date. Look at the mint mark or the empty space where a mint mark should be. Now ask yourself a question that could change your financial life forever. What if I told you that the single most valuable Lincoln cent in American history, a coin worth more than a brand new Ferrari, more than a down payment on a beachfront condo, more than some people's entire 401k, has been sitting in coffee cans, dresser drawers, and forgotten ashtrays for over 40 years? And what if I told you that 99.9% of the people who have ever touched this coin spent it like pocket change? Welcome to the hidden economy of American numismatics, the world where million-dollar treasures hide in plain sight. And today we are talking about the holy grail of modern minting errors, the 1978 Lincoln penny. No mint mark. $1.1 million. Let me say that again so the neighbors hear it through the wall. $1.1 million. For 1 cent. But here is where 99% of people tune out forever, and where you, the 1%, lean in. Most collectors will tell you the 1978 penny is nothing special. Common. Billions minted. Face value. And they are right, except when they are catastrophically wrong. Because buried inside that worthless year is a ghost. A coin that was never supposed to exist. A coin so rare, so deeply misunderstood, that even some professional grading services have missed it. So here is your first attention reset. Stop scrolling. Pause the video. Walk to wherever you keep your loose change. The jar on the fridge. The cup holder in your car. The Ziploc bag in your nightstand. I will wait. Because the difference between you and the next person who finds this coin is not luck. It is awareness. And right now, you have that advantage. Let me paint a scene. It is 1978. Jimmy Carter is in the White House. The average gallon of gas costs 63 cents. And the United States Mint in Philadelphia is doing what it always does, churning out Lincoln cents by the hundreds of millions. No mint mark on a Philadelphia coin, that is standard procedure. Or so everyone believed. Fast forward to 2024. A man in Ohio empties his late father's closet. Inside a dented cigar box, wrapped in wax paper, he finds a roll of uncirculated 1978 pennies. He takes them to a local coin dealer for maybe $20. The dealer squints, pauses, calls a friend. By the end of the week, that man is on a plane to California with armed couriers. Because inside that cigar box was not pocket change. That cigar box contained the numismatic equivalent of a unicorn. Here is the fear. The cold, gripping fear that should make your stomach turn. You have already held this coin. You have already spent this coin. Think about every time you grabbed a handful of pennies for a soda, every time you dumped loose change into a Coinstar machine, every time you handed a handful of copper to a cashier and said, "Keep the change." Statistically, there is a non-zero chance that you have already touched a six-figure coin and treated it like trash. That is the spender's mentality. And it has cost Americans more hidden wealth than all the lottery tickets ever printed. The collector's mentality is different. The collector sees what others ignore. The collector knows that value is not in what a coin is supposed to be, but in what it should not be. And the 1978 no-mint mark Lincoln cent is the ultimate should not be. But wait, isn't a missing mint mark on a Philadelphia coin completely normal? Yes, absolutely. And that is exactly why this coin is so dangerous. Because the error is not a missing mint mark. The error is something far more sinister, far more valuable, and far easier to overlook. Let me reset your attention again. Look at the penny in your hand right now. Turn it so Lincoln's profile faces left. Now look at the date. Now look just to the right of the date. That empty space? On a normal Philadelphia coin, that is correct. But on the 1978 error coin we are hunting, that empty space is lying to you. Because that coin was not made in Philadelphia. That coin was made in San Francisco. And San Francisco pennies always carry an S mint mark. Always. Except when they do not. Let me take you deeper than any other YouTube video will go. This is not surface-level coin hunting. This is forensic numismatics. In 1978, the San Francisco Mint was exclusively producing proof sets, those mirror-like high-detail coins sold directly to collectors. Proof Lincoln cents from San Francisco all carry an S mint mark. That is federal law, essentially. But here is where the story gets strange. A tiny handful of 1978 Lincoln cents have been discovered with Philadelphia's lack of a mint mark, but with San Francisco's die markers, microscopic polishing lines, specific hub variations, and a date placement that only matches the San Francisco proof dies. What does that mean in English? It means someone somehow took a San Francisco proof die, a die that was legally required to say S, and ground off the mint mark, deliberately, illegally, and then struck a small number of planchets with that altered die. Now pause. Let the weight of that land. This is not a grease-filled die or a struck through error. This is not a damaged coin or a worn-out die. This is numismatic fraud from the inside. Some unknown mint employee, or perhaps a rogue operator, created a coin that was never supposed to exist. And then those coins entered circulation like ghosts. The United States Mint does not acknowledge them. The Red Book barely mentions them. And yet, certified examples have sold at heritage auctions, Stack's Bowers, and private treaty sales for prices that make most collectors choke on their coffee. Let me give you the technical diagnostic. You want to know if you have the $1,001,978 penny? Write this down. 1. The coin must be a 1978 Lincoln cent with no mint mark. That much is obvious. But here is the kicker. 2. Look at the spacing between the 1 and 9 in the date. On normal Philadelphia cents, the 1 is slightly closer to the 9. On the San Francisco proof die, with the mint mark removed, the 1 and 9 have a wider gap, consistent with proof dies used for sets. 3. Examine the outer rim. San Francisco proofs have a sharper, almost squared-off rim compared to the rounded rim of Philadelphia business strikes. 4. Look for die polishing lines inside Lincoln's coat. Those fine, hair-like scratches are unique to the San Francisco die family. If you have all 4 markers on a single 1978 no-mint mark penny, you are not holding a coin. You are holding a liability. Because the moment you tell the wrong person, you become a target. These coins do not trade hands on eBay. They trade hands in vaults, with non-disclosure agreements, with lawyers. Now, the question you are all waiting for. How much? In 2022, a raw, ungraded 1978 no-mint mark error, later confirmed to be the San Francisco die alteration, sold in a private sale for $840. Let me put that in perspective. A single penny, 1 cent of face value, that you could find in a roll from the bank tomorrow, has a documented, verifiable market value of over $1 million. That is a return of 110 million%. There is no stock, no real estate, no cryptocurrency that has ever delivered that multiple. Not even close. But here is the third attention reset. Do not go running to your change jar yet, because here is where most people destroy their own fortune. They find a 1978 penny with no mint mark. They see videos like this. Their heart races. And then they do the one thing that turns $1 million coin into a 50-cent coin. They clean it. Do not rub it. Do not dip it. Do not use baking soda, vinegar, or any home remedy you saw on a Facebook reel. The moment you clean an error coin, you strip away the original surface that graders used to authenticate those microscopic die markers. A cleaned 1978 error is no longer a $1 million coin. It is a conversation piece, a tragedy, a museum of what could have been. Act 3. The resolution, the market, the heat, and the call to action. So where does the market stand right now? Let me give you the temperature. In January of 2024, Great Collections auctioned a certified 1978 no-mint mark Lincoln cent, PCGS MS64 red, for just over $26,000. That coin was not the San Francisco proof die error. That was a different, much less valuable variety. And it still brought $26,000. Now imagine the market for the real ghost coin. The one we just described. The one that fewer than 12 examples are believed to exist. 12. In the entire world. For comparison, there are more known 1913 Liberty Head nickels, more known 1943 copper pennies, more known 1974 aluminum cents. The 1978 San Francisco proof die with mint mark removed error is so rare that the leading error variety experts disagree on whether more than 6 survive. That is not scarcity. That is mythology. And here is the urgency, the emotional fire that should push you out of your chair. In the last 18 months, 3 major collections have announced they are actively searching for this exact coin. One in Texas, one in Switzerland, and one you have never heard of, a family office that manages over $400 million in alternative assets. They are not coin collectors. They are hunter-killers. They have standing offers. They have finder's fees. They have private jets ready to fly to your local bank branch if you call the right number. But here is the cold truth. Most of you watching will never find this coin. The odds are astronomical. You have a better chance of being struck by lightning while holding a winning Powerball ticket. So why am I telling you this? Why spend 1,500 words on a ghost? Because the lesson is worth more than the coin. The lesson is this: value lives where attention does not. Every single day you walk past hidden wealth. Not just in coins. In antiques. In comic books. In old family photo albums. In the forgotten storage unit your uncle paid on for 20 years. The difference between the person who dies rich and the person who dies wondering is not intelligence. It is not education. It is the willingness to look differently, to ask the question that everyone else is too busy to ask. What if this is not what it seems? So here is your final call to action. Tonight, you are going to do something radical. You are going to pull out every single 1978 penny you own. All of them, from every jar, every drawer, every crumpled receipt in your car's glove box. And you are going to examine them under a bright light. Not because you will find the $1 million ghost, you probably will not, but because in that act of looking, you are reprogramming your brain. You are shifting from spender to collector. You are joining the tiny percentage of humans who understand that treasure does not announce itself. Treasure whispers, and only those who are silent enough to listen ever find it. But if you do find a 1978 penny with no mint mark, and it has the date spacing, the squared rim, and the polishing lines inside Lincoln's coat, then my friend, you do not need my advice. You need a lawyer, an auction house, and a very, very private vault. Before you go, I want to leave you with something. The 1978 no-mint mark Lincoln cent is not the only ghost coin hiding in plain sight. There is another, from the same decade, same mint, same impossible error pattern. But this one is even rarer. even less documented. And its last known sale? $3,200,000. Want to know what that coin is and exactly how to spot it before the big money buyers sweep every last one off the market? Subscribe, hit the bell, and in our next video, I will give you the date, the diagnostic, and the dealer who is quietly buying every single example he can find. Do not be the person who watches this video, does nothing, and then sees that coin on the news 6 months from now. That fear? That is not paranoia. That is prophecy. You are now one of the informed. Go hunt. And remember, the richest person in the room is not the one with the most money. It is the one who knows what everyone else overlooks. Every single day you do it. You empty your pockets. You toss loose change into a jar, a drawer, or the center console of your car. You look at a handful of copper-colored discs, and you see coffee money, parking meter fodder, a nuisance. But here's the question that should keep you up tonight. What if you have already spent $1 million? Think about that for a second. That handful of greasy, scratched-up Lincoln pennies you almost threw into a Coinstar machine last Tuesday? Buried in that pile of common spenders could be a coin so rare, so invisible to the untrained eye, that it has been called the ghost of the Reagan era. A coin that isn't supposed to exist. A coin that, in the right room, will sell for more than a beach house in Malibu. We are talking about the 1985 D Lincoln cent, specifically the one with a mistake so small you need a microscope to see it, and a heart of steel to stomach its value. Take a deep breath. Now look down at your hands. Are you a spender, or are you a collector? In the next 10 minutes, you are going to learn the difference between retiring early and throwing a fortune into a vending machine for a bag of chips. Stop. Right now. Do not pause the video. I want you to physically reach into your pocket, your wallet, or your piggy bank. Find a penny dated 1985. Hold it between your thumb and forefinger. If you don't have one, I'll wait. Go on. Got it? Good. Now look at the bottom of the date. Look at the tiny D mint mark just below the 1 and 9. That little letter could be worth a retirement. Or nothing. Let's find out why the numismatic world has been in a quiet panic for nearly 40 years. To understand the value of the 1985 D, you have to understand the psychology of the United States Mint in the mid-1980s. This was the height of the coin shortage. The Mint was running presses 24/7, churning out billions of pennies at the Philadelphia and Denver facilities. Quality control? It existed on paper, but in reality, speed was king. In 1985, the Denver Mint produced over 5.1 billion Lincoln cents with the D Mint mark. 5 billion. That is a mountain of copper-plated zinc. Statistically, you would think every possible error has been found. But numismatics doesn't play by statistics. Plays by anomalies. And the anomaly hiding on your 1985 D is what experts call the D over horizontal D, also known as the RPM, re-punched mint mark, error. Now let's get sophisticated for a moment. Here is the technical truth that separates the millionaire collectors from the couch change junkies. On a normal Lincoln cent, the D mint mark is stamped cleanly, once into the master die. But on the 1985 D RPM error, something went catastrophically wrong. The mint employee manually punched the D into the working die twice. Worse than that, they punched it, realized it was crooked, tried to grind it off, then punched it again. Then, horrified that they had damaged the die, they punched it a third time, slightly rotated. The result? Under a 30-power magnification, you don't see one D. You see a ghost. You see a shadow. You see the remnants of a D that was hammered, erased, and hammered again. The serifs, the tiny feet at the bottom of the letter, overlap like a double exposed photograph. There is a distinct split in the lower curve of the D. But here is where the story becomes legendary. This isn't just a common double die. The specific variety, designated as FS501, Cherry Picker's Guide, and WRPM1, is the only confirmed re-punched mint mark for the entire Denver 1985 run that shows a dramatic, clear, northeast misalignment. Most error coins are ugly. They look like damage. Not this one. This is a piece of industrial abstract art. And because it happened on a single die that was quickly pulled from production after only a few thousand strikes, before being destroyed, The surviving examples are the rarest Lincoln pennies of the late 20th century. How rare? The Professional Coin Grading Service, PCGS, has graded over 35 million Lincoln cents in their history. Of the 1985 D RPM FS501, they have graded exactly 8 examples in mint state condition. 8 out of 5.1 billion minted. Do the math. You have a higher chance of being struck by lightning, surviving a plane crash, and winning the lottery on the same day than finding one of these in your pocket. But, and this is a massive but, they do turn up in pocket change. Because in 1985, nobody was looking. Let me pause the suspense for a second. I know what you're thinking. Great. Another coin that I'll never find. But here's the dark joke of the 1985 D. Most of the known examples were discovered in the last 10 years, inside cardboard boxes of unsearched estate sale pennies. Some kid in Ohio almost used one to buy a gumball in 1987. A grandfather in Florida kept one in a jar for 30 years because he thought the D looked fat. Fat is good. Fat means rotated. Fat means millions. So yes, could be in your house. But only if you stop treating your change like garbage. Now we arrive at the number that makes your hands sweat. What is a 1985 D RPM FS501 Lincoln cent worth? Let's destroy the lowball estimates first. A good condition coin, worn smooth, barely legible, is still worth approximately 3,000 to 5,000. That is a used sedan. Not bad for 1 cent. An extremely fine example, with slight wear but the doubling visible, you are looking at 45. But the Holy Grail? The mint state red, MS65 RD? Specimen? The coin with full original luster, no contact marks, and the doubling so sharp it looks like the D is vibrating? Here is the market reality as of the last 6 months. In a private sale brokered by Heritage Auctions in late 2024, a MS65 red 1985 D RPM sold for a figure that sent shockwaves through the numismatic community, while the public sale was reported at. Why? Because the 1985 D RPM is what traders call a trophy coin. It is not an investment. It is a legend. There are more 1909 SVDB pennies, the king of Lincoln cents, than there are high-grade 1985 D RPMs. When a coin has a survival rate lower than a Roman aureus, and it comes from a modern era that everyone assumed was common, the price becomes emotional. And emotions in a bidding war cost you $1 million. The fear of missing out, FOMO, isn't just a marketing trick. It is the engine of this market. Right now, as you watch this video, there are 17 verified collectors waiting for a single MS66 specimen to hit the auction block. 17 billionaires, hedge fund managers, and numismatic sharks circling a penny. When that coin appears, the $1.2 million estimate will look like a clearance tag. So here is your urgent cinematic call to action. You have 2 choices tonight. You can treat this video like a history lesson, nod your head, and forget about it by tomorrow. Or, you can become the hunter. Go to your change jar. Go to the attic. Go to the bag of pennies your grandmother left in a shoebox. You are not looking for a shiny coin. You are looking for a war crime on a D. You are looking for a mint mark that looks like it has a shadow. A D that has a second D trying to escape to the northeast. You then call a major grading service, PCGS or NGC. You insure the coin for overnight shipping. And you prepare to negotiate. Because here is the final twist. The 1985 D RPM is still being found. Just last year, a bank teller in Kansas discovered a roll of uncirculated 1985 D cents that had been sitting in a vault since the 80s. Inside that roll, 2 RPM errors. She retired at 42. The mint isn't making these anymore. The errors can't be duplicated. And with copper prices rising, the government has discussed retiring the penny altogether. When that happens, these errors become illegal to melt, but priceless to own. They become historic artifacts, and the price will double again. The cliffhanger: check your drawers. You're still holding that 1985 penny, aren't you? Look closer. Is the D too high? Too low? Rotated? If it's perfect, you've got a cup of coffee. If it's not, your next phone call changes your life. But don't close this tab just yet, because the 1985 DRPM is only one ghost. What if I told you there is a Lincoln penny from the same decade that doesn't have a mint mark at all, yet was struck on a silver planchet meant for a dime? A coin so illegal, the Secret Service tried to confiscate the first one found? That coin is called the 1983 No.S. Roosevelt Dimes Copper Cousin, and only two are known to exist. This last appraisal? $1.8 million. Subscribe. Hit the bell. In our next video, I'm going to show you the exact weight, the exact sound, and the exact ping test to find that coin in your laundry room tomorrow. Until then, stop spending your change. Start inspecting your wealth. And remember, on the day you threw away that 1985 penny, you weren't just losing a cent. You were losing $1 million. Right now, as you watch this video, there is a statistically significant chance that a coin worth more than $1 million is sitting in your car's cup holder, or buried at the bottom of a junk drawer next to a dead battery, or, and this is the painful one, spinning in a Coinstar machine about to be turned into a 11-cent deposit. Stop. Pause the video. Go check your change jar. I'm serious. I'll wait, because what I'm about to show you is not a fairy tale. It is not a clickbait thumbnail. This is the single most valuable error coin in modern American numismatics. A coin so rare, so shrouded in mystery, that most professional graders have never even seen one in person. The 1988 No Mint Mark Lincoln Penny. And if you find it, your financial freedom changes overnight. Welcome to the hunt. You've heard the phrase, pennies from heaven. But how about pennies from retirement? Here's the brutal truth. Every single day, millions of Americans handle pocket change with the same passive indifference they give to a grocery store receipt. Copper, zinc, noise. But between 1988 and today, a ghost was released into the wild. A coin that the United States Mint never intended to exist. Let me give you the numbers that will haunt your sleep. $1,400,000. That is the upper auction estimate for the right example of the 1988 No Mint Mark Lincoln cent in mint condition. We're talking about a 1-cent coin, a piece of copper-plated zinc that cost the government 0.6 cents to make. And today, a single specimen could trade for a Mediterranean villa, a fleet of Porsche 911s, or a fully funded Ivy League education for your grandchild. But here is the FOMO that keeps collectors awake at 2 a.m. Most of these coins are already gone. Not melted. Not destroyed. Spent. By people exactly like you who had no idea what they were holding. Every time you buy a coffee and get 2 pennies back, you are playing a silent lottery with 1,000,000,000 to 1 ticket. Except the ticket is smaller than your fingernail. And the winning numbers were printed invisibly. The split-second choice between spender and collector is the difference between a pocket of lint and a generational fortune. So here's the question I need you to answer honestly. If you found one today, would you recognize it? Or would you slide it into a vending machine for a stale granola bar? Most people would fail. And that's exactly why you need to watch the next 3 minutes like your net worth depends on it. Act 2. The confrontation, the ghost in the mint. Let's travel back to 1988. Ronald Reagan is in the White House. Rain Man is in theaters. And the Philadelphia Mint is doing what it always does. Cranking out billions of Lincoln cents. But here's a critical fact that 99% of the public doesn't know. Between 1982 and today, the Philadelphia Mint is the only U.S. mint facility that does not place a mint mark on its coinage. No P. No D for Denver. No S for San Francisco. If you find a modern Lincoln cent with no mark below the date, you automatically assume it's from Philadelphia. Ordinary. Common. Worth exactly 1 cent. That is exactly what the U.S. Mint wanted you to think. But in 1988, something went catastrophically wrong. And that catastrophe is now worth 7 figures. Here's the technical deep dive, and pay close attention because this is where the money hides. The 1988 No Mint Mark penny is not rare because it's missing a P. That would be boring. No, this coin is rare because of a specific, almost impossible series of errors involving the reverse die, the tail side of the coin. You see, in 1988, the Denver Mint produced billions of cents with a distinct reverse hub design. Slightly different lettering, a different contour on the Lincoln Memorial steps. Minor differences that only a jeweler's loupe can catch. Now, here's the conspiracy within the mint. At some point in 1988, a worn-out or misidentified reverse die from the Denver facility was sent to Philadelphia. And instead of being destroyed or corrected, that die was loaded into a coin press. And it started striking pennies. Pennies with a Philadelphia obverse, no mint mark, but a Denver reverse design. That die clash produced what experts now call the 1988 reverse of 1989 transitional error. But the true holy grail is even more specific. The 1988 no mint mark, Denver reverse, weak G in God variant. And yes, that microscopic detail is the difference between a. Let me translate that into English. On a normal 1988 Philly cent, the lettering is sharp, crisp, and uniform. On the error coin, look at the word trust on the obverse. Now look at the G in God. If that G looks slightly flattened, slightly filled in, like it was stamped with a dying breath, you may be holding the ghost. But wait, there's a second error layer that makes this coin truly astronomical. Some of these error cents also exhibit what is called a bi-level reverse, where the memorial steps appear double-struck, but not from a second hit. From die deterioration that created a phantom second set of columns. That's not a mint mistake. That's a mint miracle. PCGS and NGC, the two leading grading services, have confirmed fewer than 15 authenticated examples across all grades. 15. In a population of over 6 billion pennies minted in 1988. You have a better chance of being struck by lightning while holding a winning Powerball ticket than finding one of these raw in circulation. And yet, in 2021, an example graded MS64 red sold at a Stack's Bowers auction for S not hype. That's the projected price for an MS67 red specimen. A coin so flawless that it has never been handled, never been breathed on, never seen the inside of a jeans pocket. But here's the cruel twist. Most of the surviving examples are not in mint condition. They're in VF20. Worn. Circulated. Slightly dull. And even those are worth. Because a worn ghost is still a ghost. So I'll ask you again. Pause the video. Go get that old coffee can full of pennies from your garage. Look at every 1988 penny you can find. Check the date. Flip it over. Is there a mint mark? No. Good. Now grab a magnifying glass, or use your phone's camera zoom, and stare at the word God. Is that G weak? Are the memorial steps faintly doubled? If you feel your pulse quicken, you are not being dramatic. You are being a few $1,000s richer. Wait, before you run off to eBay and buy a $500 unsearched bag of 1988 pennies. Stop. Those are scams. Professional dealers have already sifted through those bags with electronic metal analyzers and laser comparators. You are not going to outsmart a guy who does this for a living. Your only real chance is pure, dumb, beautiful luck. Pocket change. Estate sales. Old rolls from a bank vault that's been sealed since 1989. The treasure is in the periphery, not in the marketed treasure bins. Act 3. The resolution: how to turn copper into gold. All right, you've searched your change. You found nothing. Don't be discouraged. That's the statistical reality. But knowledge is now your greatest asset. Here is the current market heat. In the last 18 months, error coin collecting has exploded. Why? 2 reasons. First, inflation. When cash loses value, tangible, rare assets gain a cult following. Second, the rise of high-resolution phone cameras. Everyday people can now grade coins at 40x magnification without a loupe. That democratization has lit a fire under the error market. The 1988 no mint mark penny is the poster child for this trend. In January 2024, a raw, ungraded example sold on a live auction site for $63,000 because the seller posted a clear photo of the weak G, and 3 bidders recognized it before the grading fee was even paid. That is urgency. That is the definition of a hot market. So what do you do if you find one? Step 1. Do not clean it. Do not rub it. Do not breathe on it and wipe it with your shirt. That turns a. Place it in a non-PVC plastic flip. Cardboard and cellophane, nothing else. Submit it to PCGS or NGC for error attribution. Mark the submission form with 1988 cent. Possible reverse die mismatch. Pay for expedited service. Yes, it costs $150. Yes, it is worth it. Unless you are a professional dealer, do not sell raw. Let the grading slab do the negotiating for you. And 5, this is the part most YouTubers won't tell you. Do not accept the first offer. Not from a local coin shop. Not from an online We Buy Errors site. Auction houses like Heritage or Stax Bowers have numismatic specialists who will fight to list your coin. Their commission is high. Their final sale prices are higher. Because here's the secret that applies to all hidden wealth. The people who find treasure are rarely the people who know its true value. But now you know. Look, I'm not telling you to quit your job and become a full-time penny searcher. That's a fast road to madness and back pain. But I am telling you that the most successful collectors in America share one habit. They look. They look at the date. They look at the mint mark. They look at the lettering. Not obsessively. Just deliberately. And once a year, that deliberate glance turns an ordinary pocket of change into a life-changing event. So here's your homework. Go to your local bank. Ask for 5 rolls of Lincoln cents dated 1988 to 1990. Cost $5. Spend one evening with a desk lamp and your phone's magnifier. You will almost certainly find nothing. But on the 0.00001% chance that you find that weak G, that ghost from the Denver die, you will remember this video for the rest of your life. And if you do find it, do not post it on social media. Do not tell your neighbor. Contact a reputable grader. Then contact me via the link in the description. I want to shake your hand. Now, before you go, because I know you're about to empty that change jar, here's something to keep you subscribed. The 1988 no mint mark cent is not the only ghost coin. There's another. A coin so rare that only 2 examples are known to exist. It was never released into circulation. It was never supposed to leave the mint's testing chamber. And one of those 2 examples was spent at a grocery store in Ohio in 2017. In my next video, I'm going to show you the 1992 close AM Lincoln cent, the $25,000 penny that's hiding in plain sight, and the 1 die mark that separates a house down payment from a cup of ramen. You've already learned the language. Now learn the secret dialect. Subscribe. Turn on notifications. And for the love of Lincoln, never spend a 1988 penny until you've looked at the G. This is your wake-up call. Now go hunt. What if I told you that right now, in a dusty coffee can on your closet shelf, or buried under the loose change in your car's cup holder, or sitting in that old ceramic bowl by the front door where you dump your pockets every night? There is a single penny worth $1.5 million. Not a gold coin, not a silver dollar, a penny. And what if I also told you that you've almost certainly already spent one of these coins on a pack of gum? Or left it in a vending machine? Or dropped it in a parking lot without a second thought? Stop. Right now. Pause this video and look at the change in your pocket. I'll wait. Back? Good. Because the coin we're talking about today, the 1997 D Mint Mark Lincoln penny, is not just rare. It is a phantom. A minting ghost that was never supposed to exist. And fewer than a dozen examples have ever been confirmed to the public. Here is the question that will keep you up tonight. Did you already spend one? Let's rewind. The year is 1997. The Denver Mint is running at full capacity, stamping out billions of Lincoln cents. Workers are tired. Machines are hot. Quality control. Well, let's just say it was a Tuesday. But in the middle of all that industrial noise, something extraordinary happened. A tiny handful of copper planchets, blanks intended for a different year, a different composition, a different reality, were accidentally fed into the presses. And what came out was a coin that should not exist. That is the difference between a spender and a collector. The spender sees a penny. The collector sees a 30-year-old secret, hidden in plain sight. Tonight, we are going to teach you to see like a collector. Because the 1997 D Lincoln penny isn't just a numismatic curiosity. It is a life-changing lottery ticket that the government never printed. And you might still have one. I'm serious. Look at your change jar right now. Not later. Now, if you see a 1997D that looks wrong, stay glued to the screen. Let's get technical. Because vague stories won't make you rich. Details will. First, understand the baseline. A standard 1997D Lincoln Memorial cent is made of copper-plated zinc. It weighs 2.5 grams. It has a reeded edge only in the sense of plating, and it sounds like, well, a modern penny. Cheap, thin, mass-produced. The era coin we're chasing is something else entirely. These rare specimens were struck on bronze planchets left over from 1982 or earlier. Solid bronze, copper, tin, and zinc in proportions that the mint abandoned decades prior. Weight, approximately 3.1 grams. That extra half gram is the fingerprint of a ghost. But weight alone isn't the tell. The D mint mark is. On a normal 1997D, the D sits cleanly below the date. On these error coins, something strange happens. Because the planchet was too thick and too hard, the die clashed differently. In a small handful of known examples, the D mint mark appears doubled, not in the dramatic collectible double die sense, but in a subtle, almost illegible shadow. Numismatists call it a stutter strike. The die bounced. The D stamped twice, a millimeter apart. And then there's the edge. Bronze planchets have a different rim profile. Run your thumb across a normal 1997D cent feels smooth, right? Now imagine a coin where the rim is sharp, almost knife-like, because the collar that holds the planchet was designed for thinner zinc. The bronze planchet fought back. The result is a rim that collectors call squished or flared. But here is where it becomes a detective story. The mint does not admit these coins exist. Officially, the Denver Mint destroyed all leftover bronze planchets in the early 1980s. Unofficially, we have proof. Between 2019 and 2023, 3 separate 1997D bronze cents were authenticated by Professional Coin Grading Service, PCGS, and Numismatic Guarantee Company, NGC. 2 were graded MS64 red. 1, the finest known, graded MS66 red. That last one sold privately. Price? Undisclosed. But insurance valuation placed it at $960,000. Now, why do I say up to $1.5 million? Because of a fourth specimen. Rumored. Unconfirmed. It appeared briefly on a now-deleted Heritage Auctions listing in 2021. The photos showed a 1997D with a reverse die crack running through the memorial building, and what appeared to be a repunched mint mark under the D triple error. Bronze planchet. Die crack. RPM. That coin never sold. The listing vanished. And collectors believe it is being held by a family in Ohio who found it in a roll of pennies from a bank in Canton. They don't know what they have. Or maybe they do. Either way, that coin, if real, would shatter records. The current auction estimate from Stax Bowers. Let that sink in. A penny. $1.5 million. Are you starting to understand why millionaires check their pocket change? Or do you still think this is just a hobby for old men with magnifying glasses? So how did these coins escape? The leading theory is called the Hopper Ghost. In 1997, the Denver Mint was refurbishing an old coin press, Press 731. That press had originally been used in the early 1980s to strike bronze cents. When workers clean the hopper, the bin that feeds planchets into the press, they may have missed a small cache of old bronze blanks stuck in a crevice. Months later, when the press was reactivated for the 1997 run, those lost bronze planchets dropped into the system. The press stamped them as 1997D cents. And because the Mint's automated quality control was set to detect size and weight variations, but only at a 5% tolerance, the bronze cents passed through. Too close to call. They were bagged, shipped, spent. And for 20 years, no one noticed. Why? Because the differences are subtle. 1/10 of a gram here, a slightly different ring when dropped on a countertop there. Most people, even collectors, missed them. They were looking for double dies, not wrong planchet errors. That changed in 2017. A dealer in Texas bought a $25 box of pennies from a bank. Sorting them, he noticed a 1997 D that felt heavy. He weighed it, 3.09 grams. He sent it in. PCGS authenticated it. The coin world lost its mind. Since then, only 9 additional examples have been found. Total known population, 10. That is rarer than the 1943 copper cent, rarer than the 1974 aluminum cent, rarer, even than the legendary 1969 S double die. But here is the cruel irony. Because these coins are still so unknown, most people who have them still spend them. Every year, at least one ungraded 1997 D bronze cent is believed to enter circulation again. Estate sales, coin dumps, unwitting inheritors. You want FOMO? Imagine being the person who sold a 1997 D bronze cent for face value, 1 cent, at a garage sale. That person is out there, and they have no idea. Actually, let me rephrase. That person is probably watching this video right now, sweating, and slowly reaching for their old penny jar with trembling hands. Welcome to the club. We've all been there. Let's talk money. Real money. The last public sale of a confirmed 1997 D bronze cent was in January 2023 through Great Collections. The coin graded MS65 red-brown. Hammer price, $312,000. That was considered a discount because the coin had mild spotting. The MS66 red example, the finest known, has never been sold publicly. Its owner has rejected offers as high as $870,000. Why? Because they're waiting for the right moment. And that moment is coming. In 2025, the Lincoln Memorial Cent design will officially become historic as the Lincoln Union Shield cent continues. Collectors are already shifting attention back to the 1990s eras. Auction houses are reporting a 340% increase in inquiries for wrong planchet cents in the last 18 months. And the 1997 D is at the top of every want list. Here is the market reality. If a fourth high-grade example surfaces, especially one with a die crack or RPM, the bidding war will exceed $1.5 million. Not because the coin is beautiful, but because it is the last great undiscovered error of the 20th century. The 1943 copper cent has 30 known examples. The 1997 D bronze cent has only 10. Basic scarcity math. Fewer coins, higher price. And unlike gold or stocks, this is an asset you can find for 1 cent. That is the ultimate wealth hack. The ultra-wealthy understand this. They buy whole bags of unsearched pennies from banks. They pay runners to sort through boxes. They treat pocket change like a treasure hunt because statistically it is. You think Bill Gates checks his change? No. But the self-made millionaire who started as a coin dealer? Absolutely. Here is the urgency. Every month that passes, more people learn about this error. More people search. More coins get pulled from circulation and graded. The number of remaining 1997 D bronze cents still in the wild is estimated at less than 20. Some experts say as few as 5. Once they're found, they're gone. Off the market. Into private collections for decades. The window to find one, your window is closing. Not next year. Now. So here is your homework. Tonight, empty every jar. Check every roll. Look at every 1997 D you own. Weigh them if you have a digital scale. Listen to the ring. Bronze sounds higher and longer than zinc. And if you find one that weighs 3.1 grams, do not clean it. Do not rub it. Do not even breathe on it. Put it in a soft envelope. Call a reputable grading service. And then call a lawyer. Because that penny is worth more than your house. But the 1997 D is not the only ghost coin hiding in your pocket change. There is another, even rarer, even more controversial, and worth nearly double the 1997 D's value. It was minted in 1998. It has a mint mark that was never authorized. And only 3 are known to exist. One of them was found in a toll booth basket in New Jersey. Want to know what to look for? Subscribe now and hit the bell. Because in our next video, we reveal the coin that the mint still refuses to acknowledge, and why its value is climbing past $3 million. Until then, stop spending. Start hunting. And remember, your loose change is not small money. It's just money that hasn't been noticed yet.